This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. This is Taos County Commission meeting of September 17th, 2024. Call the meeting to order. It is 9:01, and we'll start with the roll call. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Romero?
Present.
Commissioner Vihil? Present. Commissioner Brush? Present. Vice Chair Mascareñas?
Present.
Chair Romero?
Yes, present. Thank you. And next we have Constitution Day. Today is actually Constitution Day, so we'll start with a real short history and civic lesson this morning on what constitutes Constitution Day. It's important because it's a day that's not really widely recognized, but it's about what the Constitution means. And it's important to us because every elected official is required to take an oath to defend the Constitution. And so so it's important to observe, reflect, and commemorate. And what the day commemorates is it was September 17th, 1787, that the first 12 states signed the Constitution. This was after the Philadelphia Convention in the summer of 1787. So now in September, the first 12 states signed the Constitution. And so what does the Constitution mean, or what does it entail? I taught this stuff for like 40 years, so I won't get long. I'll do a very short. But what it basically has, it's divided up in different parts, different sections. So the first article deals with the judicial or the legislative branch is Article 1. Article 2 is executive branch, and Article 3 is the judicial branch. And then there are other sections there. And the eighth section deals with the amendments, 27 amendments to the Constitution. But basically it kind of sets the foundation for the form of government that we have. It's the longest continuing form of government that we have in the world today. It's coming up on 2.5 centuries that it's been in place. There's no other government in the world that has lasted that long in the same form. But so it's what is it within the Constitution then is about the separation, the three branches of government, the separation of powers, and the checks and balances. But it can be pretty much summarized as to what it's about in the preamble to the Constitution. And so the preamble to the Constitution just reads, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." So it kind of tells in that preamble it's what it's supposed to be all about. And so that's about Constitution Day. Happy Constitution Day.
Mr. Chair.
With the pledge.
Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Thank you for teaching us something today. I think you've turned a light on in my brain, because this is probably why today is National Voter Registration Day. So in the spirit of that, please everyone go to nmvote.org, our Secretary of State's website, check your registration, check and make sure everyone you know is registered to vote in our beautiful state of New Mexico to support the kind of government you just talked to us about. Thank you.
Good. Excellent point. Anybody else chime in? If not, we'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of
The United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I
Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the approval of the agenda, and I think we have a...
Chair, yes, I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda with one change, and that is under resolutions and ordinances, which is number 11. We need to switch A and B around.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Vihil and second by Commissioner Mascareñas to approve the agenda with that amendment. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Romero?
Yes.
Commissioner Vihil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascareñas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. We'll move to department matters. Here we have discussion and consideration No, we're not on that one. We're way back up, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Move back to the awards and recognition. Move too far down. A is a presentation of a certificate of achievement presented to Gabriela Perea Falcon, Fire and Rescue, Mike Cordova. Well, who's going to present on that? Mr. Madrid?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's always wonderful to recognize staff when they've accomplished something that's going to really serve our community. And so we have a certificate of achievement for Ms. Gabriela Pereira Falcon. We are proud to recognize you for successfully completing the rigorous training and requirements necessary to achieve paramedic certification. Your dedication, resilience, and commitment to providing exceptional emergency medical care are truly commendable. This certificate is a testament to your hard work and passion for helping others and in their time of need. We are confident that you will continue to make a significant impact in the field of emergency medical services. Signed by Chairman Bob Romero, County Manager Brent Jaramillo, and EMS Director David Varela.
Thank you.
First, very few words.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. We move to B, which is a proclamation acknowledging September as National Recovery Month. Commissioner Brush, do you have the proclamation?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd be happy to read this. This is our Taos County proclamation in support of National Recovery Month. Whereas behavioral health is an essential part of one's overall health and wellness, and whereas Taos County ranks in the bottom 10 of many categories regarding substance use disorder, and whereas prevention of mental and substance use disorders works, treatment is effective, and recovery is possible. And whereas preventing and overcoming mental and substance use disorders is essential to achieving healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally. And whereas the people of Taos County are all affected by the epidemic of substance use disorder. And whereas we must encourage relatives and friends of people with mental and/or substance use disorder to implement preventive measures, recognize the signs of a problem, and guide those in need to appropriate treatment and recovery support services. And whereas to help more people achieve and sustain recovery, the citizens of Taos County and the Taos County Board of County Commissioners call upon the people of Taos County to observe this month with appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies to support the Recovery Month theme. Recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, every community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Taos County Board of County Commissioners, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024 as National Recovery Month. And in connection with that, we might be hearing a bit about this during public comment, but I'll just give a little preview that on Saturday, September 28th from 11 to 3 in Kit Carson Park, there will be the Recovery Together celebration. Please come out and join and support and show your commitment to recovery in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Brush. And with that, we move to public comments. Anyone would like to speak for 3 minutes? Steve, step right up.
Thank you, commissioners and Deputy County Manager. Really appreciate you taking a moment, first of all, to read the proclamation, and also to, as support of all of us in Taos County that are fighting for recovery for those that are suffering from substance use disorder. And as Commissioner Brush said, we have a Recovery Day in Taos County on September 28th. That'll be from 11 till 3 and in Kit Carson Park. And we call it Recovery Together because it is a disease, and it is a disease. It's been recognized as such, not a moral failing, but it is the disease that we have to do together. and we have to bring families together. We have to realize that this is something that we can help, and we have to do that together. We're very gratified for the partnership with Taos County in fighting this. We've been working long and hard to get recovery services going in Taos County, and we're looking forward in the near future to meeting with the commissioners and the county management to put together a schedule for opening the detox center, which is the first piece in that puzzle that has been, it's been closed now since 2015. So going on 9 years that has been closed. And from my standpoint, my recovery journey began there in that once and hopefully soon future detox center. I know recovery works, and it's personal to me that we get these recovery services going in Taos County. Rio Grande is making preparations to utilize $600,000 in rural grant to go to the detox center and to go to beginning the detox center with the budget complete. And so we're working on that now, and we're soon hoping to meet with both the hospital, the detention center, and other referring agencies to make sure that everybody has a smooth path into that recovery. We, at Rio Grande and at Recovery Friendly Taos, the participation has grown, which is wonderful in the sense that people are looking for recovery, and in the same sense, it's frustrating because we don't have those services in place. So we're gratified that you, as the county commission and the county management, are working with us to get recovery services in Taos County, and we hope as time goes on to establish more and better services in our community. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else in the audience? Please step forward, state your name and where you live.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm Alexandra Goldman with the Taos Housing Partnership. You need my address, or just where I live?
No, just
I live in the town of Taos.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I was saying, I work with Taos Housing Partnership, and I just wanted to come out today to talk about another event that's happening on Saturday, September 28th. Apologies that it is a conflict, but we have our second homebuyer education class that is going to be Saturday, September 28th from 9 to 3 p.m. at the Kit Carson Electric Co-op Boardroom, which is at 118 Cruz Alta. We're really excited to be able to offer this homebuyer education class again. We feel like homebuyer education, working with individual families to become homeowners is a key piece of the puzzle, sort of solving this affordability puzzle here in Taos. So our class is really interesting and engaging, especially for a homebuyer education class. We have a trainer who works with HomeWise, which is an affordable housing organization that's mostly based out of Santa Fe and Albuquerque. They're really good at what they do. Ken's the trainer. He makes this actually fun. It's a pretty engaging class that's about 6 hours. So the class provides information to help households become informed and empowered home buyers. But the other thing that's really neat about the class is it's certified by HUD, the Federal Housing and Urban Development Department. And so that means that the class is sort of a qualification for people to be connected to services that can make homeownership more affordable. And so that's something we're really excited about. So people have to take that class to be connected to certain things like the New Mexico MFA's program for low-income first-time home buyers. Also through HomeWise, if you take the class, you're eligible for some of their mortgage products, which have really low down payments of about 2 to 5%. So that can be really helpful for not only first-time home buyers, but any home buyer. The class also connects you with free counseling services through HomeWise. It's sort of indefinite counseling as people are working towards being able to afford a home. So that, it's considered that people could take a few months to 5 5 years to be able to afford a home working with them, and they're happy to work with people for free the entire time. So the class is really this first step to being connected to all of these great opportunities that can make home ownership more affordable. Additionally, down the road, Taos Housing Partnership is planning on having a down payment assistance program, and again, this class will be a required sort of first step for that. So not only is it fun, but it helps make home ownership more affordable. Again, Saturday, September 28th from 9 to 3. And I have some flyers. I don't know if there's a good place for me to leave them or just put them out on the table out there. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Would anyone else like to speak? Not, we'll move on to the minutes. Approval of September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
Yes, Mr. Chair, if I may. I'd like to approve the September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes with one change. And so I would like to, on page 15, on line 691, it reads Llano Quemado Community Center. Paving was completed and awaiting civil design. And actually it should read Llano Quemado Community Center. Civil design completed and awaiting paving. So we're just going to switch those.
I believe that's correct, right, Chris? Yeah.
With that, I make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Vehil with the second by Commissioner Miguel Romero with the one amendment. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Romero?
Yes.
Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascarenhas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. And we move to B, approval of the September 11th special meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve September 10th, 2024 special meeting.
Motion by Commissioner Vehil,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Brush. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Romero?
Yes.
Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascarenhas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. And we're on 10 presentations. We have a presentation here, a presentation on nurturing kinship family programs. Sienna Sanderson, come forward, please.
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioner Romero, for the lesson on the Constitution. I so appreciated that. So, and I've brought two other people who also work with kinship guardianship, Doris Sandoval from Penasco and Candy Allen here in Taos. Okay, so good morning. My name is Sienna Sanderson, and I'm the coordinator of Taos Behavioral Health's nurturing centers at Enos Garcia, Ranchos Elementary, and the Penasco schools. Since 2016, the Nurturing Center has been supporting students during the course of the day who may be having a hard time, as well as offering family navigation services to parents, connecting them to community resources. Candy will explain a little bit more about our history of working in the jails that really brought us to the work we're going to be talking about today. It is appropriate that we acknowledge Recovery Month today, and I thank Steve for his comments. In fact, I spoke to Lori Archuleta at the Rio Grande this morning and found out that 78 of the 100 people they're serving have children in their homes. So I want us to keep that in mind. I would bet there's not a person in this room who does not know someone who is raising a child who has been impacted by the drug crisis we are facing today in our community. This summer, our community lost 3 mothers to overdoses. Those are the mothers we are aware of. In one instance, the mother of a 7-year-old died. After she died, we found out that she herself had lost her mother when she was a young child as well. 3 generations we're talking about. So New Mexico has the highest percentage of children in kinship in the country at 8%. The national average is about 3%. And this was reported in a very well-documented report by the Lano Foundation, of which I would be happy to provide all of you with a copy of. And that was produced in January of this year. The Nurturing Center staff, teachers, administrators, school counselors, and social workers are witness to the impact of the opiate and drug crisis impacting the lives of our children who come to school every day. At one Taos County elementary school alone, we have nearly 100 children who have lost a parent to death, incarceration, or substance misuse.
In January of this year, the Lano Foundation released this report on the grandparents' kin raising children. In this extensive report, they recommend that the opiate settlement funds be allocated to address the root causes and prevention to improve the outcomes of our families. And I am here today to recommend that we convene a community conversation about how the opiate settlement funds can be used and should be used to address the drug crisis impacting our community. Let's widen our perspective on how we can make positive change in our community and consider some portion of these settlement funds to be used to enrich the lives of the children and their caretakers who have been significantly impacted by the drug crisis. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Doris Gonzalez. I am here to represent Peñasco's Más Comunidad Spot Office. As a community resource coordinator, I have partnered with many agencies and organizations to support Peñasco's grandparents and families raising children. Working closely with the community, I have identified approximately 50 children in the Peñasco area who are being raised by either grandparents or family members, and the number continues to grow. The number is not the number of families who support by picking up after school or helping on weekends. The number is strictly grandparents and families who have committed to raising these children full-time. In August of 2023, I partnered with the Los Alamos National Lab Foundation to host Peñasco's first ever town hall meeting. The goal here was to hear from grandparents and families who are raising these children to see what their challenges, barriers, and needs are. The projected outcome was to inform and influence funding and policies within the state of New Mexico. The result was that the grandparents and families' challenges, barriers, and needs were overwhelming to all the agencies and organizations present, that it was decided to form a committee to address Peñasco's needs. Myself, along with the Los Alamos National Foundation and Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's office, organized our first ever resource fair for Peñasco's grandparents, families raising children. We had about 50 plus agencies and organizations offering resources and were readily available to enroll families into their programs. We had over 180 attendees at this event. This was the beginning for the Spot Office to partner with many other agencies and organizations to provide valuable resources. In March of 2023, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham's office invited me to coordinate attendance at the third annual spring celebration. The guests were the grandparents and families raising children in the Peñasco area, and its focus for these families was to enjoy a day full of free fun, food, and activities. The best part of this event was a bike rodeo, where every child who attended received a free bike and a helmet. The Spot Office also partners with Taos Shine, Taos Nurturing Center, Las Cumbres, the Lano Foundation, and many other partners to support events such as Christmas and back to school distribution for the Peñasco children. I'm also excited to share that an uncle from the Peñasco area who is raising a niece will be featured at the upcoming 2025 legislative session at the Grandparents and Kin Raising Children's Day, with the intent to promote statewide awareness on the needs to access funding, services, and resources for these families. Unfortunately, the underlying reason why some of these children are being raised by parents, by grandparents, and family members is because of the drug and alcohol crisis. Although these families open up their hearts and homes to care, to love, and to provide for these children, many struggle financially because they don't receive financial assistance to help support the children's basic needs. My passion is to encourage and support my community in Peñasco and its surrounding areas to thrive and unite. I continue to strive to bring resources to the Peñasco area. So if anyone's interested in partnering with me, please contact me at the Spot Office. And we'd also like to request any funding resources that anyone has to continue the services at the Spot Office. And you could either contact myself at the Spot Office at 587-1792 or Miguel Angel Ortiz, who is the director. And thank you for your time and attention to supporting these children and the families. Thank you. I'm going to have some flyers about what the Spot Office does, if anyone's interested.
Okay.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. And thank you for allowing us to come and speak to you. My name is Candy Allen, and I work with Sienna in the nurturing center here in town at Enos Garcia Elementary School. So when we first, Sienna actually opened that program and I joined her. And one of the things that we did was visit young people who were incarcerated, and just to spend time with them. We made a garden, which they loved, and we did cooking, lots of different things that gave them hopefully some hope for their future, or at least a break in their time there. When that closed down, the juvenile detention closed down, we started visiting people in jail who had children, and we got that information through the jails, and then we could go in and speak with them. And our intention was to find out who had children and where they were and who was taking care of them. And most of those people who were incarcerated were happy to provide any information so that we could connect with their children. So that's kind of how we got started in this kinship guardianship, which is a legal bond between a child and their guardian. So it gives authority to the guardian to act as a parent, to be authoritative in signing for school, signing for out-of-school activities, going to the doctor. If somebody had to end up in the hospital, they would have a legal bond that showed that they were responsible for this child or children. So we just began to try to provide services for those folks. But what really changed me about the whole process was, how do you get to be a kinship guardianship? And this is what you get if you go to the courthouse. I'll show you how thick. And people are given, no, they are sold this for $25, and then they're asked to fill it out. It's huge. There are a lot of different forms in here. Some you need, some you don't. It's very confusing if you're not used to legalese, and people would just give up. You know, they just gave up in tears a lot of the time. So I started looking at it and made myself familiar with it, and offered to help people get through this process by filling out the documents, filing them in the court, supporting them in a hearing if that came to be. And that's when I started really learning about our families and how much they were going through. The guardians were grandparents mostly, but aunts and uncles, and they had such a conflict of emotions. Joy at having their grandchildren with them, feeling like they could really offer their grandchildren something, guilt because their own children were not able to raise their own children, and all of the other hardships that increasing your family by 2 to 4, 5 children, you have to really search for resources, because they do not get any kind of financial reward through the state, which is, well, we're working on it. We're really working on it. But until we can make some changes, they need funding for just to raise these children. And grief and loss is just permeates this whole process. There's no happy reason, really, to have a kinship guardianship. It's painful. It's sorrowful. It's really heavy. And the children are going through that same grief and loss as the parents, as the grandparents. So we work with 3 generations through this process to try to eventually reunify, but it's not possible unless these parents are able to recover through their addictions. And so we need lots of funding to make this happen for reunification, for people recovering from addictions. Just lately, I've had 4 babies that had to, after birth, were either flown to Albuquerque or were born in Albuquerque. Those babies had to stay in the hospital for a month sometimes to recover from their addictions, as their mother passed that on to them while she was taking drugs. So anyway, I urge you to support these people. They're our community, they're our families. They need help, and the children need help, or we will see this continue to happen for generations. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Any questions, comments from the commissioners regarding the nurturing program? Commissioner Hill.
Yes, I would like to thank you ladies for coming forward today and sharing what you all do. Thank you for what you do. I welcome the conversation, and so I just once again, thank you. Thank you.
And those conversations are happening across the state. They're convened in Bernalillo to have a community conversation. There were community conversations in Bernalillo County that had this community input into how the opiate funds were to be sent. And I have a copy of Exhibit E from the opiate settlement that explains the many different uses that can be applied for these funds. And working with families, supporting families and children is part of that. The main focus, of course, has been MATS and really looking at recovery for the people who are suffering from the addiction. But I think we also have to look at the wake of the children and the families that are being impacted, and how can we support them. So,
absolutely. Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning. Thank you for the work you do. Doris, you're from Penasco. That's where I'm originally from. Have you guys reached out to any other schools in the county?
Not in the county, just in
Penasco. And the reason I bring that up is because I coached high school sports in Cuesta, and we had a few kids that their parents had died because of overdose. And basketball, for me, it's a family thing. Ronnie knows it. We were teammates together. But it takes a community to raise a child, not just grandparents or uncles. But the more word that gets out as to what we're trying to do, what assistance the county can help you with, it would work, because it's the kids that you want to bring up in the right direction. And thank you for your work.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Romero. And thank you again for presentation. Okay, we move to item 11, resolutions and ordinance, and here's where we amended the agenda to take B before A, and so B is discussion, consideration, decision regarding ordinance number 2024-5, an ordinance repealing Taos County Ordinance number 1996-10 and an ordinance number 1998-3, and adopting New Mexico Administrative Code as adopted by the Construction Industries Division of the New Mexico Licensing and Regulation Department, which has adopted 2021 International Building Codes. And I guess, Rachel, I guess we have to repeal the old ordinance in order to approve the new resolution. I'll let you explain that. Rachel Romero.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Mr. Madrid. Thank you for your time today. And yes, just basically what you described is what this ordinance is. Traditionally, well, back in 2008, the resolution 2008-33 just basically said, moving forward, we're just going to stay with what the state adopts and take on those codes that way. I was informed that that is incorrect procedure, and we need to adopt formally by ordinance every time the codes are updated. And so that's what this is presented to you today. Since the state of New Mexico has now gone to the 2021 codes, I now need to come before you to request that we also adopt those codes, so that way we stay the same with the state of New Mexico. We can be the same or greater, but we cannot be less stringent than what the state offers. And so by us staying with the 2015 codes, we would be out of compliance with the state of New Mexico. It also will keep the 1997 UBC Chapter 33, which is our excavation and grading regulations, and those will remain the same. We have adopted those for quite some time, and we will continue to use those regulations until we determine at some time that we need to change those regulations. The international codes do have a small section on grading and excavation, although it's not as defined and not as clear as the 1997 UBC. And everybody seems to be pretty comfortable with those regulations, and they're pretty straightforward and give us what we need. Other than that, if you have any questions, I stand before you for any questions.
Commissioner Brush.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Rachel, for being here and doing this right with us. My question is simply, are there significant changes that we and actually people most affected by this should be aware of in the 2021? Are there areas of change? That's my first question.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Brush, that's a good question. And there are some significant changes, although the state has gone and revised those. And so basically the way it works is a person wanting to build it, they look at the New Mexico code first. And then the New Mexico code says, see section 304.5 and amend as follows. And then it'll say delete this sentence and add this sentence, or delete the entire section and replace this. Or if it's silent, then you follow what the code states. The biggest change is that we're going to R10 vapor barrier from 10 mil vapor barrier from a 6 mil vapor barrier. There's a lot of talk out there that we've also changed the insulation factors when it comes to the ceiling and the walls. In the 2021 International Energy Conservation Code, it does change it, although New Mexico has amended it so that way it remains R49 in the ceiling and R20 in the walls. Yes, and there's different methods that you can follow. You can either go with the prescriptive method, or you can go do what you all may know as a HERS rating, or some performance standards that you can comply with, that you can also, like the green building and so on and so forth, to get LEED certifications. You can do those as well. So there's different methods that are out there that you can utilize to be able to obtain those goals. But most commonly is the prescriptive method with the R49 and the R20 in the walls. Other than that, there's not really any major changes that I can think of right now. The other thing that we are going to start enforcing that the Energy Conservation Code calls for is that it's now requiring that you're sealing all of your penetrations on the exterior walls. So at a framing inspection, we'll be going out there, making sure that everybody's caulking up the penetrations for whether it's pipes or electrical outlets, things of that nature. So that way it just seals the thermal envelope properly, and it eliminates a lot of that heat loss and cold air coming in into the home, also around the windows, around the doors, things of that nature.
Thank you, Rachel. If I could just, my follow-up question, that's helpful. Thank you. And you did explain that we could go we could go further than what the state does in terms of our building codes. I'm just wondering if you and your planning department team that you head up have any areas where you think we should actually do something more or different than what the IBC or the New Mexico state code might do.
That's another good question, Commissioner Brush. This time, I don't think so with the regulations that the state has adopted. They're pretty fair. We don't want to be too strict with our regulations. A lot of times with the different codes, people often find it hard to be able to comply, even though the building regulations are minimum standards. You have some contractors that just go with that, and it's just a very cookie cutter home. And then you have a lot of other contractors that go and beyond, and they put hard work into their product and they really make it show. So it just depends on the contractor. But as far as us trying to enforce stricter regulations at this time, I don't think that's a direction that we want to go. Although if we do come across something or the commission sees something that they would like for us to explore, that's definitely something that we can take a look at.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. Question for you in regards to when someone applies, and if it's the developer, well, they should know the regulations. But my question is, do you inform them, tell them, make sure that you're looking at the updated? And then, of course, you have your owner builder, which is, that individual. I mean, I'm just wondering, do you give out the packet? Do you give direction? What do you do to make sure that they're following the most current?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Vihel, currently we do have some flyers up in the office, and we've had them up for quite some time. We've had them since December of last year, informing people that the codes were going to be changing, and then there was a certain period where they could go with either the 2015 codes or the 2021 codes. And as of July, the state has mandated that everybody submit under the 2021 codes. And so that flyer has been up for quite some time. If people come into the office, we do notify them when they come to pick up the applications. We also do have some information available on the website. Currently, these last couple of months, I have been working on revising our applications. Our applications are pretty outdated and they don't have all of the information as Construction Industries puts up. So I have been working hard on updating those forms, and I'm hoping to be releasing those within the next couple of weeks. Hopefully by October, I'll be able to release those applications. And basically what I've done is I've amended the homeowner packet. So now it's going to be a lot more pages. It's going to be, 9-10 pages of application that a person gets, but it's going to give them everything, when to call for an inspection, what we're going to look for, what you need to submit as far as your application goes, what you should do if you're going to subcontractors out, whether or not you should apply for a homeowner's permit. It'll give you some idea, if you're going to hire a contractor to be your project manager, then you need to have that contractor be the applicant and you can't apply for a homeowner. So it gives different examples and whatnot. And the same thing, I'll have more information when it comes to commercial, even though we technically don't have a lot of commercial going on within Taos County now. I'm hoping that that'll change in the coming future, and we'll have a lot more commercial development, and that'll also guide them in things that we look for when an application is submitted.
Okay. Other questions? Yeah, that's one of the biggest concerns I hear out there about people navigating the process of building permits. And I know the planning department does everything possible to facilitate that, but there are concerns out there, people having some concern about how they get through it all.
Yes, sir, that is correct. And like I say, we are working hard to change that. And another thing that I failed to mention is I'm also looking to see if we could update our website and put all that information there, and also put like some frequently asked questions, what do I do with this or that? So that way it also helps them and guides them, and also give them links to other agencies and other codes and whatnot. So that way they have more resources at the palm of their hand, rather than trying to figure out things on their own, give them a little bit more guidance. So I am working on trying to educate the public a little bit more in that regard.
Okay. Any other questions on 2024-5? We're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that we repeal ordinance number 2024-5, the ordinance repealing, oh no, wait, yeah. I move that we approve the repeal of ordinance 2024-5. Is that correct, Rachel?
I believe you would want to say that you want to repeal ordinance 1996-10 and ordinance 1998-3 and approve ordinance 2024-5.
Then that's what we'll do. I move repeal of Taos County ordinance number 1996-10 and 1998-3 and approval of ordinance number 2024-5. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Brush.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Mascarenhas. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Romero?
Yes.
Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascarenhas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. And we move to A, discussion, consideration, decision regarding the approval of resolution number 2024-39, a resolution amending resolution number 2024-28, the planning department fee schedule. Rachel.
Thank you, sir. And I'll just say thank you for approving the ordinance. And I apologize that our ordinances and resolutions are always very confusing and and whatnot. But, resolution 2024-39, we are looking to amend the resolution 2014-28. As you mentioned, this was the last time that our fees were approved in 2014 with the adoption of the new land use regulations. In 2006, the 2014 resolution amended the 2006 resolution, and from 2006 to 2014, our fees were at a different rate, and then in 2014, the fees got lowered. So I am hoping, you could see in the red line document, I've provided a red line, and I've also provided a clean version. The fees that I'm looking to amend, the fees in black in the red line version are fees that we're inputting that were not previously in the resolution. So what I'm just trying to do is put all our fees into one schedule, so that way we're not having to go to this ordinance and see what the fees are, go to this, and everything is in one page. The subdivision regulations are not in here, and neither are the rural addressing ordinance regulations. And we will be looking at implementing those into one resolution as we update the land use regulations and the subdivision regulations. And then we'll be presenting that to you at a later date to introduce that. The biggest change on this is the residential zoning clearance. I'm proposing a $75 charge. In 2006, it was $150, and then it got brought down to $50. I would like to propose moving it up to $75, and that's because of the time and effort that staff puts into it. We have to go out and do site visits throughout the county, and so with the $50 charge, that would help with the cost of gas and maintenance and staff time and hours. The other items are our cannabis fees, which were not previously included. And the biggest thing is the short-term rental fees. We have the application fee of $100, and then the owner occupied $400 and the non-owner occupied of $900. And so the theory on this is that when a person submits an application, they have to pay the application fee of $100. Once we review that application and approve it, at that time, they would either have to pay the $400 or the $900. But regardless of whether or not they're approved, they would have to pay that $100 fee, and that all these fees are a non-refundable fee. I stand for any questions that you may have.
Questions, commissioners?
I do have a few questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Rachel, first question is the amounts that you are proposing, how did you arrive at those? Is it just, did you kind of study other places, or I'm just kind of curious how you got to those numbers?
As I've mentioned, I looked at the 2006 resolution, and I do have copies available if you guys would like to take a look at them fairly quickly. I could pass that out really quick.
And then, thank you.
And as I mentioned, I compared the 2006 to what we had now, and 2006 seems to be more accurate for today's economy. As far as the building permits, those fees are taken out of the International Building Code. Those are what they recommend. In this language, we also talk about that the fees are going to be based on valuation. So the state gives us a price per square foot. The last time that value price per square foot was amended was in 2003. So we're going based off price per square foot from 2003. So if we were to go with today's prices, price per square foot, that the International Building Code provides, people would be paying probably 3 times the amount of what they're paying right now. I feel as though building permits are, they don't need to be changed right now. I feel that they're at an appropriate price, and if we were to increase them, it would be too much of a detriment to the community. And I think with the amount of money that we obtain from building permits, it's adequate for staff time and resources that we provide. The same thing with the excavation permits. They come from the 1997 UBC, the UBC code, the Uniform Building Code. And so that's the fee schedule that it provides within that Chapter 33.
Okay, and a follow-up. When someone comes in to apply for a residential permit, they receive it. It's a 1-year permit, right?
Correct.
Okay, and because I know, because it's happened to me and many others, that it takes us a little bit longer to build. Often folks can't build their home in 1 year, so they have to come back and renew that. And so I'm just wondering, do you have concerns? Have you heard a lot of folks concerned because they now have to pay an additional fee just to get another 6 months permit? And I think it's 1/4 of the original fee, correct?
It is, to renew, it's half the fee for another year. Although in this proposal, I'm mentioning 1/4 of the fee for 6 months. The building code does not allow us to renew for longer than 6-month period. What the building code says right now is that you pay for a permit and it's good for 6 months. And then after 6 months, you have to renew it. So that's where Taos County is giving a little bit of leeway, because we give it for an entire year rather than the 6 months. So after the year, so basically we're giving them the 6-month extension for free automatically with the 1-year building permit. And then at the end of that year, they'll now have to come in for up to a 6-month. Before we were doing a 1-year renewal, but the building code does not allow that. So I'm trying to bring our regulations more in line with the state mandates and what the building codes say. So we'll only renew it for up to 6 months, and we can do that 6 months at a time. It doesn't say that there's any limit on that. but we could only do it for a 6-month period. And this is something that comes out of the building code, and it's always been in there. So this isn't something new that we're doing. This has been an adoption for that I've been at Taos County 11 years, but that I've been working in government 20 years.
Yeah, and I was
So-
more concerned about folks that are having difficulties already putting a home together. Every penny counts.
Yes.
And then they have to come up with another couple of thousand just to get an extension. And that could be pretty tough.
Correct. And we do work with them. So we don't make them do the whole 6 months right away. If they want to go down to a 3-month, then we can prorate it to a 3-month. And it's customary that if, their permit expired today, but they need, maybe 3 more weeks, another month, that, because they're just waiting on their plumbing final inspection, or the electrician came and they have to change out some stuff and they need to get re-inspected, that they just need a couple more weeks. We'll give them a 2-month extension at no cost.
Okay.
And then if they need anything after that, then they'll have to pay the full 3 months. So,
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions for Rachel? If not, do we have a motion to approve? This one is 2024-39.
Motion to approve resolution 2024-39.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mascareñas,
Second.
second by Commissioner Vehil. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Romero? Yes. Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascareñas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. Thank you, Rachel.
thank you. Thank you for your time.
And we move to 12, Department Matters. This is discussion, consideration, decision regarding the termination of agreement to assure completion of infrastructure and release from standby letter of credit, both previously approved by the Board of Commission, as certified by the applicant's engineer and inspected by Planning Department staff. The infrastructure has been installed. An applicant can be released from the letter of credit, and the previous agreement should be terminated by commission approval. Mr. Randy Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, fellow commissioners. Today I am bringing you this proposed termination of agreement to assure completion of infrastructure for the Morning Dew Summary Subdivision and applicant Debbie Yarovitz and her agent Mark Yarovitz. In April 2023, the commission accepted Mr. and Mrs. Yarovitz's agreement to assure completion of infrastructure and a standby letter of credit in the amount not exceeding $162,444.12, which represented security for the borrower's completion of infrastructure and improvements. As noted in my letter to Mr. and Mrs. Yarovitz and Exhibit 2 and dated September 4th, 2024, I performed a site inspection of the Morning Dew Summary Review subdivision located off Camino Tortuga on July 10th. At that time, I inspected and confirmed that the remaining infrastructure had been installed. This was further confirmed by the project's engineer of record, Mr. Alex Abeda, in his letter of certification dated July 10th and included in your packet as Exhibit 3. Now that the infrastructure is complete, we're asking the Board of Commissioners to approve the termination of agreement to assure completion of infrastructure included as Exhibit 1 in your packet, allowing Mr. and Mrs. Yarovitz to be released from the standby letter of credit. I stand for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? If not, is there a motion for approval?
Mr. Chair, I move approval to terminate the agreement to assure completion of infrastructure and release from standby letter of credit as so presented to us here.
We have a motion by Commissioner Brush, second by Commissioner Mascareñas. Any further questions, comments? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Romero? Yes. Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascareñas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Jones. That was quick. All right, we move to consent agenda. And here, Commissioners, we have A through M. Are there any items there that anyone would like to discuss further? If not,
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda as stated here on our agenda.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Vehil to approve the consent agenda. Second by Commissioner Romero. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Romero? Yes. Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascarenhas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. Okay, thank you. We got through that one quickly also. That's a long one. Huh? Okay, we're now at Commissioner's report. Commissioner's reports and matters. A, new business to be considered at future commission meetings. We have nothing there. Okay, we'll move to B on commissioner announcements. Or do you have something on the?
On a future, yes, if I
Okay.
may. I would like to, and I believe our manager is aware, but just to make sure we're moving it along, that we meet with the planning department. I think a work study would be great. Certainly appreciate all the work that they do, but I think it's time we give some feedback and just maybe some clarification. So when people are asking us questions out there, that we might be able to be a little bit more helpful. And so would like to see a work study of some kind.
Okay, I think it's a good idea. We'll get a little bit more insight, so we'll address that with the county manager. Maybe Mr. Madrid can forward that to Mr. Tatamio also, that we'd like a work study on the planning. Okay, now commissioner announcements.
Mr. Chair, I have one announcement. Tomorrow at the Not Forgotten Outreach location is a Taos Stand Down event for veterans, all veterans. Bit of an emphasis on those vulnerable or vulnerable to or potentially experiencing homelessness, but it's open to everybody. This is an event, again, it will take place tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. It's Wednesday, September 18th at the Not Forgotten Outreach location. And it's also being supported and or sponsored by the VA and the local Together with Veterans Taos group. I'm on that steering committee. It's a group with the mission of preventing suicide among veterans, particularly in rural areas. So I invite everybody to come join in. There will be Monte's breakfast burritos. There will be music. There will be services. There will be some of our federal delegation there willing to help for veterans who might need connection or access or help applying for benefits, employment, housing. So please spread the word. I've got some flyers. I've also put some out on the table out there. Everybody is welcome, including you, Mr. Plant. Please do come. Thank you.
Okay, any other commissioner announcements? Seeing none. Okay, and Rachel is back. We did just mention previously that the commissioners would like to pursue possibly having a work study with the planning commission. So we might, you might address that with the county manager also, Rachel.
Yes, I'd be happy to have a work study with you. I'll just let us know what you'd like to discuss so that way we can prepare some items for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, are we ready for adjournment?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Vehil. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Romero? Yes. Commissioner Vehil?
Yes.
Commissioner Brush?
Yes.
Vice Chair Mascarenhas?
Yes.
Chair Romero?
Yes. Okay, the time is 10:03. Okay, about an hour. Good. We moved through that one quickly. Thank you all for being here. We'll be adjourned. I thought we could get through this one pretty fast.
How are you?
Good, right?